Let's get Kevin in Middletown next up. Kevin, you're on the Gary Sutton Show on WSBA. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Gary. I tell you where the problem started. The progressive Democrat Woodrow Wilson caused this problem, and I'm black, so I can say that in a very easily manipulated inner-city black community who's always shifting blame on others for their problems. That's why the blacks, see, I know this for a fact because I grew up in Chester, PA, and that's just as bad as Baltimore. They always shifting the blame, and that's why these wealthy Democrat politicians have their way of relating, making the inner-city folks feel like these people relate to them because look at the Democrats; they always shift and blame.
Kevin, how did you get it? How did you get away from that attitude? I mean, how did you? There are a lot of people that I've heard this week who are blaming, but you don't seem to be a guy that's doing that, and yet you had the chance to. You heard the same kind of things as other people. Why are you different?
Because I tell you what, Gary, everybody has the same opportunity. When I was a kid, my mother always taught me to apply myself.
Yeah.
Do this. If you want out of here, do this, do that. Everybody has the same chance. I did my schoolwork. I went to trade school. I did my footwork, and I found out, do I want to go to school for a year to become a nurse, a CNA, and pay $10,000 and then make $9 an hour, or do I want to go to trucking school for 3 months and make up to $40,000 my first year, and then as I gain experience, $70,000 to $80,000 a year. So I took the truck driving, and that's what I did. I did my footwork, I applied myself, and I got out of Chester because half the guys I grew up with are either dead or in jail, and I didn't want to put myself in that situation. I didn't want my kids to see what I seen as a child. So I got out of there. But in the inner city black communities, when you give away freebies, it make them lazy. And I noticed one thing. Very liberal black politicians are the worst thing that could happen to the black inner city community. I'm telling you.
Why so? What are they doing? Is it just the handouts? Is it taking away the feeling of independence? What is it? Put your finger on that for me.
Instead of them fixing the problem, like I said, they shift the blame. And they always saying this, well, it's the Republicans, it's the white people, blah, blah, blah. They always shifting the blame. They tell you anything to get your vote. And then after they get your vote, you still have the same problem. And then they say, well, you got to elect me again. It's going to take a long time to fix this problem. Then you start thinking, hold on, what problem? The last mayor was Democrat. The last mayor before that was Democrat, whether it was a white Democrat or a black Democrat. It was a Democrat. So why are we obligating ourselves to vote Democrat? Why are black people obligating themselves to vote for people that don't really do anything for them? They don't. They just shift the blame. And things. Look at the similarities to the mayor of Baltimore and President Obama. When you got Benghazi, someone gave a stand down order, and no one wants to take responsibility. And then they say, I didn't say that. My words were taken out of context. The Baltimore mayor gave a stand down, and she said, I didn't give it. They said, well, it came from your office.
Right.
And then she said, I gave the people room to destroy. Then she said, no, I didn't say that. My words were taken out of context. That's what they do, and that's why nothing gets fixed. That's why I got out of there, and I moved into a community. People say Middletown is racist. No, Middletown police aren't racist. They control the riffraff, and that's what I like. I like control. That way I can live my life. I can flourish. My children can play. My children can mingle with other children of other races, and it not be a problem. America is America. It's a city. It's a country, a melting pot country. But we need to all flourish together. And I know that this government is tearing people apart, pitting people against each other, whereas though we cannot focus on what they're doing to us because we're fighting with each other constantly. And that's what's going on. Obama said one thing. He's going to fundamentally change America. He said that another thing he said about immigration, before the election, he said, I don't have the authority to give amnesty. Then he did it. Now he just said, I don't have the authority to federalize the police. That's what he's trying to do. And the sad part about it, he's using black people to push his agenda because honestly, I'm not comparing the two, but white people, they don't do this. Conservatives, they don't do this. When they have a problem, they do it the right way. They go to the courts. Black people, they say, go out, you get sharpened, go out and do this, go out and do that. And they run in the streets and tearing stuff up and breaking stuff. That's the problem.
Kevin,
They're easily manipulated.
Kevin,
and that's so sad.
Yeah, I appreciate your point of view this morning. Thank you for your call, and interesting stuff. Take care, my friend. Thank you for calling.
Okay.
Got about 2 minutes left here in this hour. By the way, Marilyn Mosby, the state's attorney for Baltimore, homicide. The death of Freddie Gray has been found to be a homicide, ruled a homicide. The officers did not have probable cause to arrest Freddie Gray, and the officers are being charged. More information than a lot of people thought would be coming out today. We'll talk about that more next hour, but I want to get to the phone lines. Amber, you're next up on the Gary Sutton Show. Amber, go ahead. Have about a minute with you.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for taking the time.
I just wanted to comment on the previous caller.
Yes.
What a great call. What he said, everybody has the same opportunity. It's so true. Life is what you make it. Some of us might be born into tougher circumstances than others.
Yep.
But you can't just sit around and wait for greatness to happen. You got to go get it. And no matter how you're born or what you're born into, you have to seize it and just take advantage of what's out there. But we all have the same opportunity. And I just wanted to say, great call.
Well, thank you, Amber. I'm going to put that call, by the way, up on Facebook.com/910WSBA. Brian will have that up on Monday. And thanks so much for your call this morning. Appreciate it. Let me get Bill in York. Bill, have about 40 seconds with you. Go ahead, Bill.
Gary, same thing, man. Kevin, what an awesome call. What a breath of fresh air and a voice of truth. Boy, I tell you, you should have this guy on as a guest. He must have a wonderful story. I was so inspired. And I mean, I told your screen, I'm like, I just had to call and say, what a great call.
I really appreciate that. And I think Kevin probably does too. You know, Kevin's called our show a number of times, and I know he's a listener. And, you know, he's speaking a little bit of truth to power there that, you know, we all have obstacles. I don't care. Forget the color thing and any of that. We all have obstacles. And it's what we do with them. You know, are we willing to, if there's boulders on the road, are we willing to try to get rid of those or get over them or get around them to get to where we need to go? And you hear so many of those stories here in our country, and I think there's still room for a lot more of those stories, but our leaders ought to be getting out there and pushing independence and not pushing dependence. And I think Kevin was a great example of what happens when you're independent and you're out there doing the right things. It works. Bill, thanks so much for your call. We're at the end of hour number 2, but hour number 3 is yours. Anybody else that heard Kevin's call want to comment, feel free, 1-800-357-0910. We'll also do more with the fair wage. And the news that just came out that the death of Freddie Gray has been ruled a homicide by Marilyn Mosby, the state attorney at Baltimore. And she just got the information turned over from the police yesterday, so much for a whitewash. That they didn't have probable cause, that the officers are going to be charged. So we're going to talk more about that when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show. The phone lines are open for you. It's What's Your Mind Friday, 1-800-357-0910. It's 11 o'clock.